Hi, I am Sharon Knight, President and CEO of Hope Communities, and it's so nice to have you here with us today. We are doing our building community check-ins 3 times a week to help you understand that we're there for you. So Hope Communities has been providing housing and educational programs and support services for families for 40 years. And part of what we have done as well is to build community, to connect people. We know that our neighborhoods and our broader community are much better if we work together than if we're all independent and separate. So part of this show is to continue doing that, to make sure that you know that we're there for you and to continue building that sense of community that has been important to us for so long. So when we host these shows, we are providing latest information about the virus. We're providing resources for you. Also, hopefully some inspiration, some activities to help keep you healthy and fit through this time. So if you have any specific needs from us at Hope Communities, you can find resources on our website, hopecommunities.org, and we have a special tab at the top of the homepage for resources related to COVID-19. You can also send us an email at any time at info@hopecommunities.org to let us know that you need some help, to give us comments, or to ask questions. We will get back with you if you email us at that address. Now, in terms of news, the other day we talked about the governor's announcement that people would be getting free COVID-19 testing. And in fact, you've seen the news, I'm sure, that there are testing sites at the Pepsi Center as well as 32 other locations across the state. There's a little bit of a catch in that you have to demonstrate one of the symptoms of COVID-19 in order to get that free test. So those symptoms are things that you are used to hearing about. So the shortness of breath, the fatigue, the fever, body aches, having a loss of smell, a loss of taste, so some abdominal pain, some vomiting. So all of the things that we've been talking about are the things that will be on the eligibility quiz that you can take online or at certain sites. So look in the news articles that are online and you can find a direct link to those places. You simply need to go through and say, have you had any of these symptoms in the last week to be eligible? And then they will also ask you if you have had a COVID-19 test in the last week. Now, the governor also had said that essential workers would get testing for free even if they were asymptomatic. The detail around that is that it is not necessarily all essential workers. At this point, they are targeting people who work with the most vulnerable population. So people who work in nursing homes, people who are healthcare workers, and also who are first responders. Now on Monday, we also had a visit from a doctor, Dr. Pierce, who talked to us about when we should go to the doctors, when we should stay away, when we should go to the emergency room, and other things related to medical care at this time, because lots of us are kind of confused about when we really should go out and what is essential. And so he helped us with some of those. And during that time, we had a viewer who asked a question about whether or not he should get an antibody test. Now, most of the time when people get an antibody test, it is to determine if they have had symptoms of COVID-19 in the past. It doesn't show whether you currently have it, only if you had it in the past. And many people want that test because they believe if they had it already once, they can't get it again. Well, there is no conclusive evidence that with this virus, if you've had it before, that you are immune to getting it again. So it is not a sure-all test. There are also many kinds of antibody tests right now, and there are varying levels of accuracy. So you may not know which test you're getting or how accurate it is. And at this point, the test is not for free. It actually is anywhere from $100 to $250 to get that test at this point. And that could change. Things are changing every day, which is why we keep updating you with this news. But if you're thinking of getting that test, just consider all of those facts, that it may not be conclusive if you've had it before, because they're not all that accurate, that there will be a charge, and that if you've had it before does not necessarily mean that you will not get it again. So I'd like to share a quote with you each time, and this one is short and simple. It is by Oprah Winfrey, and it is that with age comes the understanding and appreciation of your most valuable asset, your health. So of course, I am going to be talking about health today, health and wellness. We know that a lot of people are really taking the stay at home and safe at home regimen seriously. So they are not able to get to the gym. They're not able to do some of the recreational activities that they typically do. Some people are getting stressed, they're getting anxious, and they're losing their body tone or their sense of fitness. And so we're going to bring to you some exercises today that you can do from home. Our primary goals are to work on relaxation, to help release some of that anxiety and stress that may be stored in your body, and also to help a little bit with tone. So I am delighted to have Jolynn Snyder, who is our Director of Administration, who worked with me earlier today to film a series of exercises that you can do in your home. So we are going to share our screen to show you some of that exercise routine in just a few minutes. But I'll start by saying that we're not showing a full regimen. We are showing and modeling different types of exercises that help with relaxation and toning on different parts of your body. We are not necessarily doing the number of repetitions or reps that you might do if you haven't had an exercise routine before. Oftentimes people start with 8 repetitions, but some people will start with less and some with more. We also might be using some weights, and we'll use varying levels of weights. You can choose if you use a 1-pound weight, a 3-pound weight, 8-pound weight, or no weight at all. All of the exercises that we will do with weights are effective even without them. They just work your muscles a little bit harder if you have the weights. We also can't be there to be coaching and supervising, so you need to really pay attention to what works with your body. You know if you have limitations. If you have high blood pressure, if you have things that make you lightheaded or affect you when you are exercising, pay attention to those. If for high blood pressure, for instance, you may not want to do a rollout to have your head below your waist or your chest. If you have a bad back, you may not want to do some of the abdominal exercises we show you, or you might want to use extra precaution with that. So you know what your limitations are. Now, through these programs, I've often shared my history and my jobs with you. And when I was in college and graduate school, I did do quite a bit of teaching that was for exercise, for yoga, and for dance. I also managed an exercise salon for a while. So I have some idea about the fundamentals of exercise, and we're giving you general tips as we go forward and general exercises that you might find in other resources. But if you feel like you need to reach out to your medical professional to make sure that these are fine with you, please do so. You need to feel most comfortable with this so that you can get through the routine and do the routine more than one time. So we want you to be able to do that so you can keep it up. Now I am going to share my screen with you so that you can see Jolynn doing these exercises, and I will be talking through this with you as we go forward. So let's get this started. So first of all, as I said, we're going to start with some relaxation exercises to warm you up. So she's doing a neck roll, gently dropping the head forward and circling around to the right, not pushing it too hard. If you haven't done anything like this for a while, you might feel a little crunching. Don't push it. Don't make yourself hurt at all. She's going to go the opposite way so that she can feel muscles and relax and stretch muscles just a little bit differently, a little bit differently, because each way affects something a little bit differently. Now she's doing some shoulder rolls, just gently but fully going around to the back and now going to the forward. You can see it's going to release some of the tension in the shoulders and the upper back and chest. Now she's going to also do a chest expansion as we're getting on this. So she's grasping her hands behind her and kind of pulling her hands down towards the floor and back of her. And now she's going to lean over. Her feet are about shoulder width apart, you can see, and let her arms drop forward. Her chest is still being expanded because her arms are pulling that back, but also her back is getting a really good stretch at this point. It's a general good warm-up for chest and back. Now we're going to go a little bit lower to address the midriff. Her feet are a little bit more than shoulder width. Her body is going straight over, not forward. Her upper arm is going over her head and towards the opposite wall, and her other arm is sliding down her leg. So this is called the triangle. She'll do it on the other side. When you do this, you may want to do several. You can feel an amazing stretch for your midriff region on the side as you do this. Might be a little bit of stretch with your legs too, but most of the intention is to be working on your midriff. Now she's doing a runner stretch. We're starting to go down lower to the legs. If you do not have good balance, please hold on to a chair while you're doing this, or put one hand on the floor, which she'll show you in a bit. So one leg is bent and firm on the ground, the other is straight. You don't have to be having a locked knee, but a pretty straight leg. See, she's showing you how to balance with her arm down there. So just to stretch forward, you'll feel a very nice long stretch behind your legs, your upper thighs. If you need to, you can bend your legs a little bit, which will make less of a stress, and that will be a good beginning place for you. She's using the chair to continue stretching the back of the leg. Her back is very relaxed. Her head is relaxed. Her feet are flexed. She can do that with one leg and then with the other. As we mentioned before, you may want to do several repetitions of each of these exercises. Right now, we're just modeling what they might look like and letting you know what they might actually be working. Now we're going to use that chair, since we have it, to work on triceps. So her feet are planted, her legs are bent, and she is dropping down from the chair. The tricep drop really works the back of your arms very, very well. And so you can do that slowly or quickly. If you straighten your legs, it does work, but you are putting your fuller body weight on those arms. So make sure that you do have strength to do that with straight legs, because we don't want you to slip and to scratch your back on the end of that chair. Now, since she's there at the chair, she's going to be towards the edge, but holding on and lifting up one leg at a time. This principally is working the front of her thigh, whichever leg she's using, but it also does start to work the abdomen or core a little bit. So we would do that on each side a few different times. We're going to keep using the chair for a couple of minutes now, and we're going to start doing some exercises that are for her arms. And as I said, we might use store-bought weights, but we also might use some things from the household. She's using 2 cans that are, maybe it could be tomatoes or beans. Cans like that are about 1 pound each. And she's doing a tricep curl. Her arms were up by her ears, straight up, and then just the bottom part of her arm was flipping down. This is really good form. She's holding her arm up straight, And then using the top part going down to really, really be effective in terms of the impact of that tricep power build. She is using a bottle of juice that is just about 3 pounds. It's still manageable to hold on to for most people. So hopefully that'll work for you. Now she's going to use the weights again to work on her biceps, the front of her arms. And so keeping her arms to the side, she's just going to roll up the bottom part of her arm to work on those biceps. You can do that sitting, you can do that standing, you can do it with different levels of weights. So build up slowly so that you can continue that. So now we're going to do one more leg exercise. She's going to pick up both legs at the same time. Again, it's working her legs and her midriff or her core. That is something you want to be careful about if you are someone who has a sore back, because you want to make sure that you have that lower back in a straight form. If it's pulling too much on your back, please don't do that. So we're going to go down to the floor to continue working on legs. Her back is straight and flat against the floor. She's demonstrating that area at the lower back that sometimes arches up. We don't want that to happen. Really push that back. And she's straightening one leg and then the other and lifting them up to work on the front and top of her legs, the upper thigh. Now this again, just like the last chair exercise, both legs going up at the same time is really going to be a tougher exercise, and you have to make sure that your lower back is firmly on the floor while you're doing that so you don't add extra tension to your back. Now this is an exercise where we can bring the legs up to a bent and then straight, bring them in and down. So we're continuing to work the abdomen and the legs, but it's kind of fun to be able to have a little variation there. She does have her back flat on the floor. We're going to start working on the side of the thighs now. And you can be up as she is with her upper body up, or you can be lying down for this. You do want to make sure that your pelvis is really tipping forward to get the full benefit of this exercise. And you're going to lift the legs straight up towards the ceiling for work on your outer thigh. If you bring that top leg forward and lift the bottom leg, you're going to effectively work on strengthening the inner thigh. Again, you want to keep that pelvis tipped forward. And so you, of course, are going to do these exercises on both sides. We are only showing you on one side today. This one is going to combine and have the lower leg and the upper leg get work. So it's up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. So it does allow you to keep working those muscles without feeling so much strain. And then if you can, to lift both legs up at the same time while they're together. So a really thorough workout for your legs at this point. When we combine the lifting of legs and upper body going up together, we can start to work on a crunch, a side crunch that will strengthen that upper thigh and medius muscles, as well as crunching at the waist. So it will allow you to continue working both sides of your body, but to get that midriff just a little bit more that a lot of people really want to work on. While we're down on the floor, we're going to go to what is called a plank. So we have a half plank that she is doing. So it looks like her body is straight, and it doesn't look like it's very challenging, but it really is. I mean, it really works on your abdomen well. You can also do a full plank, and that's just having your arm strength. See the nice form with her back being very, very straight there. So that if you hold this position, as easy as it looks, if you hold the position for a while, you really do feel it in your core. You'll feel it in your abdomen. You'll feel stronger. It helps to benefit your balance. and so forth. Now, since we're right down there, we are going to do a push-up. So this is a half push-up. She's starting from her knees. You can have your hands facing forward, inward, or sideward, but you want your hands to be basically below your shoulders. And do several reps. If you want to do a full push-up, then you're going to have straight legs versus being on your knees. It is much more challenging, and so you may want to go from doing a half push-up to a full push-up, and so you can graduate from one to another. While we're there on the floor, we're going to combine the cat and also the cow to experience a very nice stretch with your back and with your abdominal muscles, since we've been working both of those so much. So that's a really, really good stretch, and it's important to really do these every once in a while. Sometimes it's great to do this in the morning or at night as a nice beginning or ending of your day. And we want to do the stretch, particularly of the abdomen, because now we are going to move into some crunches to work on those abdominal muscles. We're going to start with a roll up. So Jolynn's knees are bent and her feet are on the floor, and she's slowly lifting up her head in a nice curled fashion. Her arms are going up her legs. So some people, they'll want to hold their hands behind their head because the head is actually a pretty heavy weight. But what you don't want to do is to pull your head, because you're not working your arms here, you're really working your abdomen. So you can see that she has put her hands on the side of her head instead. So she's not pulling her head up, she's just putting her hands there, more of a balancing factor. So now we're going to be crunching the bottom and the top at the same time. And then we can actually work the obliques by starting to go from side to side. And you can extend that even more with the bicycle. So you get to work many of your abdominal muscles and your oblique muscles, which are part of those same abdominal strand, to strengthen and to pull in that midriff area. So, and the bicycle is just kind of a fun way of doing it too. So if you grab your legs and pull yourself up to a sitting position, we are also going to do a roll back. So starting from sitting, you can roll all the way back to the floor and then gently rolling up, making sure your back is really curved all the way up and then all the way down. Or you can also do a half roll up. Don't just go half of the way back, and that will still work your abdominal muscles. It really focuses on the lower part of your abdomen, which some of the other exercises don't do. While you're there in sitting position, you can also do a pike. So bringing the legs straight out and staying in that V shape. Now, some people like to open and close. So you have bent legs and then open. It's really, really good for your balance, for strengthening your core. It also does, of course, impact your abdominal muscles and your leg muscles. It's more of an integrated movement that could be challenging for some people, particularly if they don't have balance or if they don't have a lot of strength yet. Now, to stretch out some of those things, we're going to go to what is called a cobra. We are transitioning towards the end of our exercises. We have downward facing, legs on the floor, stretching the abdomen up. Her hands are right below her shoulders, and she's just stretching out that upper body to get ready for our next moves, which would be the downward dog, or some people call this the mountain. It's kind of a V shape, so it stretches the back of your thighs. She has her heels on the floor, which is the greatest stretch. And then with a straight back, it's really good for circulation. It's good for many things. She's going to be walking her hands into her feet and her body, relaxing her head and gently rolling up so that she's ready for our last exercise, which is actually a series of exercises called Salutation to the Sun, or Sun's Greeting. Placing her hands together, she's going to have her arms go up over her head. She's going to gently arch back, stretching that whole front of the abdomen, keeping her back long. bringing her legs about shoulder length. Her hands are together. She's going to roll down to the floor. She's got great flexibility, so she can put her palms on the floor. You may not be able to do that yet. Lunging back, put one leg all the way back and then the other leg back. And she's going to walk into that pike position, that mountain or the downward dog, putting her knees down. She's then going to have her lower body flat on the floor and her upper body stretch forward, and she's going to move into that cobra for that last stretch, and then from there right back to that downward dog or mountain for that stretch and also relaxation. Her head is relaxed as she rolls up again, bringing her arms together. She has her arms go to the top and over her head, and that is the end of her nice position where she is demonstrating these exercises. So again, this was a wonderful way for us to show you a certain amount of exercises. We know that there's so many more out there. I mean, we could go on forever. And we know that we just skimmed the surface to show you how to work with these. But if you even just did these exercises, 8 reps each to get started with, you would have a full holistic type of exercise program that would help with relaxation, would help with anxiety and stress, and also start to give you some good tone, and all with things that you can do right from your home. Very easy to do. So we're getting towards the end of our show, and I like to do a book review. I'm going to stop and just say thanks again to Jolynn. It was awesome to have her on the show. The book review that we are going to do is by one of our friends. It's Carol Baucom. But when we do these reviews, we post the video of the review after this session. So we will post this video of me talking, and then we'll post video of the review. And today it will actually be a review of 2 different books. And then we try to let you know if books are available at the library. So the 2 books that we're going to hear about today are available at the download portion of the library, since we know the library is not open. And so we will provide links for you to get there. But if you have a library card and you go to the Denver Public Library site, when you look up at the top of the page, you can actually see an area that says download. And so you can get in there and figure out if a book that you want to read is available for download. They have many, many, many books. They're not all available, but many of them are. And so it's an easy way for you to get access to books without going out or without having to buy them at a time when money might be a little bit tighter. So hopefully you can use that. And I'm talking with the Denver Public Library, but I know if there are people listening this that are not from this area, your public libraries always have that capability as well. So please check into that. Today, our review is going to be by Carol Baucom, as I said. The first book that she reviews is called Plain Song, and that is by Kent Harif. And we have reviewed another book by his before. He is a Colorado author, and he writes about a fictional town in Colorado called Holt. And he really brings out the flavor of families when he's writing these books. So I think that you might want to read this book. You might want to hear Carol's review about it. It is one of a trilogy, actually, and one of the other parts of the trilogy we talked about earlier, which is called Our Souls at Night. Now, the second book that she is reviewing is called The Known World, and that one is written by Edward P. Jones. And it features a former slave and a man who mentors that person. The book was researched for 10 years, and then because they had all that experience, the author was able to write the book in just a few months. but it's bursting with information. It is interesting and easy and engaging to read, and the author is able to really bring the story and the characters to life. And so please listen to Carol. She has a really wonderful review of both of these books, so hopefully you get a chance to hear her and to download these books so that you can be part of the team that has watched them. Now, I just want to let you know that this is Memorial Weekend. We will not be having a show on Monday, but I sure do hope that you have a wonderful weekend planned. And if you do need any assistance, please email us at info@hopecommunities.org. We want to be there and we want to support you. We want you to have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you.